"You've ruined this family," her brother shouted across the table, voice sharp as glass. "You're the reason Dad died disappointed. You're an embarrassment to our name." The room fell silent. Everyone stared, and she just stood there, tears drying on her cheeks, realizing for the first time silence could be louder than screaming. That night she left, and nobody knew where she went. Not until years later, when they saw her face again. On the cover of a magazine. The dinner table had always been her battlefield. Long before tonight, Amara Williams learned how to survive in silence. She'd grown up in a home of polished floors and broken hearts, a place where image mattered more than kindness. Her father, a well-known attorney, believed family reputation was everything. Her brother, Daniel, inherited that pride like a crown he didn't deserve, and Amara, she was the one who never fit the picture. When she married Eli, a mechanic from the South Side, the whispers started. She married beneath her, they said. She threw her life away for love. Her mother stopped calling. Her father stopped visiting, and Daniel made sure the whole town knew what a disgrace she'd become. It had been 3 years since her wedding when Daniel called. "Come home," he said coldly. "Mom wants a family dinner." Amara hesitated. Every part of her screamed no, but something in her heart, that tiny, flickering hope, whispered maybe things have changed. She arrived wearing her best dress, hands trembling as she carried a homemade pie. Old habits die hard. She still wanted to be accepted, but the moment she stepped inside, the air shifted. Her mother smiled politely, her eyes darting away. Daniel leaned back in his chair with that same smug smirk he used to wear in high school when he'd win at everything by cheating. Dinner began with small talk, fake laughter, clinking forks, until Daniel dropped his fork on his plate and said the words that would break her heart for good. "So," he said loudly, "how's life in the garage? Fixing cars with your husband while the rest of us actually build something that matters?" Her mother whispered, "Daniel, please." But he didn't stop. "You know what's funny?" he said. "Dad worked his whole life to give us a name people respect. And you married the help." Amara's hands shook. "Don't do this," but Daniel stood, his voice rising. "You've embarrassed this family, Amara. You've ruined everything he built." The table went still. The clinking stopped. Even the clock on the wall seemed to hold its breath. Amara's eyes filled. But she didn't cry, not this time. Instead, she whispered something that made Daniel's grin fade for the first time in years. "You keep saying I ruined this family," she said softly, "but you're the one who broke it." She stood up, placed her napkin neatly on the table, and walked out the front door, leaving behind the home that had never once felt like hers. No one saw Amara after that night. Her mother told people she'd moved away to find herself. Daniel told people she'd run off because she couldn't handle responsibility, and in a way, both were half right. Amara did leave to find herself, but not in the way they thought. For the first time in her life, she stopped trying to fit into their world. She worked beside Eli at the auto shop, fixing cars by day and studying business online at night. Eli used to joke, "You've got the brains and the hands, babe. That's a dangerous combo." And he was right. They started small. 1 car, 1 customer. Then, word spread. Her kindness, her skill, her ability to treat people like family drew a crowd money couldn't buy. In 5 years, their small garage became Williams Motors, one of the most trusted auto service chains in the state. And yet, Amara never bragged. She never sought revenge. She just built quietly, like a storm forming over calm seas. It happened on a Sunday. Daniel walked into the dealership in a pressed suit and polished shoes. He didn't recognize the woman standing at the front desk, not until she looked up and smiled. "Hello, Daniel," she said softly. "It's been a while." He froze. Her name was on the wall behind her. Amara Williams, founder and CEO. For a second, he forgot how to breathe. The sister he'd called a disgrace was now the owner of the company his own firm was trying to partner with. He tried to play it cool. "Well, look at you," he said, forcing a laugh. "Guess you got lucky." Amara tilted her head, calm and graceful. "I didn't get lucky," she said. "I got tired." He frowned. "Tired? Tired of waiting for people like you to believe in me." Daniel's smile cracked. "Come on, Amara, you know I didn't mean what I said. We were just what?" She interrupted. "Honest." Silence. He looked around, embarrassed as employees nearby pretended not to listen. "Mom wanted me to talk to you," he said quickly. "She's not well." "She misses you," Amara nodded slowly. "I miss her too." Then she paused. "But I can't go back, Daniel. Not to that house, not to that version of myself." Daniel tried to smirk again, but this time it faltered. "You've changed," he muttered. Amara looked him straight in the eye. "No," she said. "I just stopped apologizing for being myself." He stared at her, unsure whether to feel anger or shame. Then she said something that silenced him completely. "You know, Daniel, for years you called me an embarrassment. But maybe the real embarrassment is realizing the one you looked down on became everything you pretended to be." He had no words, just a trembling jaw and eyes that finally saw her for who she really was. The strength their father never noticed, the courage their mother never had, the heart their wealth could never buy. That evening, Amara drove to the old house. The curtains were drawn. The paint had faded. Her mother opened the door, frail but smiling. For a long time, they didn't speak. Then her mother whispered, "You were never the embarrassment, Amara." "We were." Amara held her mother close, tears finally falling, not from pain, but peace. Months later, Daniel attended an awards gala. When they called Amara's name for Entrepreneur of the Year, the crowd rose to their feet. Daniel watched from the audience as his sister took the stage, the spotlight soft on her face. She didn't speak with anger or pride. Just quiet truth. "I was told I was an embarrassment because I didn't follow the family path, but I learned that sometimes walking away isn't failure. It's freedom. You can't build peace in a house built on pride." The applause was thunderous, and Daniel, for the first time, clapped too. That night, a woman once called an embarrassment proved that silence isn't weakness. It's the sound of strength being rebuilt because sometimes leaving doesn't mean giving up. It means finally choosing yourself. Tell us in the comments. What did you learn from Amara's story? Where are you watching from? Subscribe for more cinematic moral stories about courage, dignity, and second chances. Because the quietest people often have the loudest victories.